Okay, I'm going to do a little science challenge right now. So, density is a rate involving mass and volume. Mass has to do with how much something weighs. Volume, on the other hand, is to do with how much space something takes up. Like, for instance, this humongous bottle of hand sanitizer gel has a volume of 725 mils. And volume can be measured in mils, milliliters, liters, ounces. It can also be measured in cubic centimeters or meters or even kilometers. So volume has to do with how much space something takes up. So the formula for finding out density, and you should already know this, is density equals mass over volume. So the way to measure density, take that out of there. The way to measure density is by first measuring mass and volume and then simplifying that rate so that it is out of 1 unit of volume. The way to measure mass is to weigh something. And the way to measure volume is to find out how much space it takes up. For a regular shaped object, like a shape like a sphere, or a shape like a cube, or a rectangular prism like these, for a regular shaped object, you can just use a formula for finding the volume of that. So in the case of a rectangular prism, you can use the formula length times width times height, and that will give you the volume of that shape. All right, so, oops, get my notes out here. So I have a block of styrofoam. It is very light and it is not very dense. So the height of this block of styrofoam is 4 centimeters. And the length of this block of styrofoam is 7 centimeters. And the width of this block of styrofoam is also 7 centimeters. So the way to measure the volume of this block of styrofoam is to multiply the height times the length times the width. And that will give us the volume in cubed centimeters. So 4 times 7 times 7 is 196. So that will give us the volume of this block of styrofoam. Now, the weight, the mass of this block of styrofoam, the way we can find that out is by using a scale. Now, I've got a pretty fancy scale here. So we'll measure it. And this scale is not exact. It only measures in grams. But it tells me that this block of styrofoam weighs 2 grams. So we can say that the density of this block of styrofoam is 2 grams per 196 centimeters cubed. But we need to divide that. And when we divide that, we find out that the density of this is 0.0102 grams per each centimeter cubed. So this material, styrofoam, is not very dense. It is very, well, it lacks density and it's very light. It's very, very, very light. So I have 4 metallic rectangular objects. They're not very big. They're pretty small. Put that over a little bit. They're pretty small. And they all have exactly the same dimensions. So if we were to use a ruler, we could find out that each of these objects is 5 centimeters long. And they are just over 1 centimeter wide. They're 1.26 centimeters wide, and they are 1.26 centimeters high. So the height, the width, and the length, or the dimensions of these 4 cubes is 1.26 by 1.26 by 5. So your first task is to find out what is the volume of these 4 objects using the measurements that I just gave you. So 1.26 by 1.26 by 5. So to find the volume, you're going to multiply those 3 numbers together. And that's going to give you the cubic volume of each of these rectangular prisms. Now I'm going to tell you I'm going to go in order, starting with the silver one, next using the gold one, next using this orangish one, and then finally going on to this black one. I'm going to use the scale to measure the mass. First, I got to turn my scale on. So the mass of the first one is 22 grams. The mass of the second one is 68 grams. The mass of the orange one is 72 grams, or 71 grams, sorry. It's hard to see that, a bit of a glare. And the mass of the blackish one is 62 grams. So your task is to use all of the resources that I've just given you, and to use your notes, and to use research, and to do the math to figure out what are each of these 4 objects made of. So A, B, C, and D. What material is A made of, and what material is B and C and D made of? And the amount, you'll have to look online, you'll have to do some research, you'll have to do some math, but you have everything that you need to figure it out. Okay, good luck.